Welcome back for another video. What are the top all-time managers doing in FPL this week? We're going to go through all the data as we break down Gameweek 3 into bite-sized chunks. Let's get straight into it. And Milko has claimed the top spot in the Experts League with a score of 76 points, which has moved him up to 15k overall already. It was overall a challenging game week in the Experts League though, make no mistake. It's pretty rare that they score under the average, which is what happened. 48 points was their average score, 51 overall. Milko used his bench boost in Game Week 1 and he's taken quite a different approach of his team setup and it's worked. He's got no Salah, he's got no Haaland. And he still managed 76 points even though he had Palmer out for him by basically spreading that money around. And the big theme this week is whether it's worth doing a similar thing with our teams with Palmer. Do you sell him and spread that money around, or do you keep hold of him? A satisfying split of transfers made this week. Exactly 40% are rolling, 30% making one transfer, 20% making two. One manager's making 3 transfers, and we've got quite a lot of chips active once again. 9% are either on a wildcard or a free hit for Game Week 3. And we're going to have a look at both a free hit and a wildcard team from 2 top managers in this video. First of all, who are they buying and who are they selling? Well, it was a true horror show in the League Cup Wednesday nights. Man United were knocked out by League 2 Grimsby Town, and it's definitely Grass FC versus Analytics FC this week. It's Cunha top despite that, 17% buying him, Bruno 10%, Mbeumo 6%, Dorgu 4%. A new rock bottom for Man United really, and yet they still fancy Man United home to Burnley despite all of that. It's going to be really interesting to see how this one plays out. Like, the team looks so low on confidence, and Amram looked utterly defeated in his post-match interview. He seemingly has lost most of the dressing room. What are we going to see from them this game week at Old Trafford? It's also worth mentioning that Cunha played 90 that much, while Mbeumo didn't. He came off the bench and he did score, so maybe Mbeumo is actually the under-the-radar pick now. Make no mistake, the Palmer injury has forced a lot of hands. We wouldn't be seeing nearly as many buy Man United mids this week, but if you are selling, where else do you turn? 35% are selling Palmer, who is by far the most sold this week, though he was 99% owned last week, so as a reminder, he's actually still extremely highly owned among them, and only roughly a third of the experts are selling him, 2/3 are keeping him. So that's something to actually weigh up if you have him. Like, do you definitely sell? Is that the best thing to do right now? The most popular position or most popular view in the Experts League is actually to keep him. So in terms of some other replacements, 10% are buying Kudus, 8% buying Sarr, that's Crystal Palace's Sarr, 5% buying Dango and Reinders. You can see with 6% selling Q that there's some really nice combination transfers presented if you do downgrade Palmer. You know, something like Palmer down to Semenyo and Q to Wood with 2 free transfers, or maybe João Pedro over Wood. The only risk of Ekitike is the transfer window closes just after Game Week 3 starts, so if they end up signing Isak, then his longer term minutes could take a hit, but he's on 20 points after 2 game weeks and he's the top scoring forward currently. They hardly need Isak of how well they're playing, but I'm sure they do want to sign another striker because obviously one Ekitike injury could really derail their season. Gakpo of course can play up top, but then there's a lack of depth in left wing. So yeah, 20 points for Ekitike, 21 for Semenyo, who's the top scoring midfielder in the game. He looks like a really solid set and forget pick in midfield. He's got a fixture run of Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle, Leeds, Fulham, Palace and Forest. Potentially even longer fixture run. He does have Man City and Villa after that, but he is the type of player that does well against any team. Arguably against the better teams he does even better, because Bournemouth is just great on the counter and very few can actually match his shot frequency. If Palmer's out, then why on earth would roughly 2/3 of the experts be holding him? Well, free transfers are king in FPL. They keep you really flexible, and in these early weeks, there's still a lot of figuring out the lay of the land going on. Like Game Week 4 for example, Palace have got Sunderland home. Maybe we're going to want Sarr or Mateta instead. Liverpool have got Burnley after the break. Maybe Isak stays and we want Gakpo and Ekitike. They could be even better than buying Man United mids right now long term. And then there's like Spurs, they've got a run of West Ham, Brighton, Wolves and Leeds after the break. Maybe we want someone like Kudus. In Game Week 6, Man City have got Burnley home, obviously that's a bit further ahead, but maybe we're going to want to pivot to Haaland. Man United come back from the break with Man City and Chelsea the following 2 fixtures after Burnley, so it's not necessarily the better decision longer term to buy a Man United mid right now. FPL is truly a game of patience at times, and the hardest skill is picking the right moments to strike with free transfers. Realistically, this Man United home to Burnley match could be the moment to strike. It could end up 5-0, we see a massive response, or it could crash and burn, if recent form continues, and maybe the right opportunities end up being those potential examples that I just mentioned. I'm really interested to know what those of you that have Palmer are doing. Like, have you sold him already? Are you selling? Or are you going to hold him regardless if he's back Gameweek 4? So looking at the chips, this week 5% have got their wildcard active and 4% have got the free hit active. Some have been in really unlucky positions to have, Aït-Nouri, Frimpong, Saka and Palmer. Like, a few of those in combination can really force your hand into an early wildcard. Peter has activated his wildcard and he's shared his team. It's Petrovic, Dubravka, Cucurella, Lacroix, Dorgu, Rodon, Van der Ven, Semenyo, King, Reinders, Salah, Kudus, João Pedro, Haaland and Wood. Here's what he had to say about the justification to activate and the players picked. I decided to use my wildcard in Gameweek 3 because my team wasn't performing as expected. Several key players underperformed in the first 2 game weeks and their prices were about to drop. At the same time, some of the top performing players were rising in value and I didn't want to miss out. I also realised that my team lacked balance. I had too much money tied up in underachieving premiums. The fixtures were also turning in favour of certain teams, so I wanted to bring in players with better upcoming schedules. Using the wildcard gave me the flexibility to make multiple changes without taking points hits. I used the opportunity to strengthen my bench as well in case of future rotation risks. It also allowed me to fix my formation and invest more wisely in midfield. Overall, I felt like it was the best time to reset and prepare for the long term. Hopefully, the changes I made will start paying off in the upcoming game weeks. One of the reasons was that I wanted to fit both Salah and Haaland into my squad. Having both gives me the best captaincy options for the upcoming game weeks, depending on form and fixtures. My squad also had too many uncertain starters and a few injury concerns, which made it hard to plan ahead. On top of that, I had too many West Ham players and their upcoming fixtures didn't look very promising. And lastly, FPL Banger has activated the free hit chip, so what's the best team for this week in his view? It's Sells, Milenkovic, Cucurella, Burn, and Bumo, Cunha, Bruno, Barnes, gone Wood captain, Haaland and João Pedro. I love the Man United triple midfield. I mean, the best thing about the free hit is it is for 1 week only, then you get your old team back, so why not go for it? So here's what he had to say. On the decision to activate, my non-free hit team has got triple Liverpool attack, Gyökeres, Palmer and Aït-Nouri, with no Man United or Newcastle players. Using the free hit in Gameweek 4 allows me to attack good fixtures for Man United, Newcastle and Forest, while also avoiding a Liverpool vs Arsenal and giving Palmer and Aït-Nouri 2 weeks to recover. I also get to dodge Man United and Forest tough games in Gameweek 4 when I get my non-free hit team back. Free hit picks then, Sells, Milenkovic and Wood. West Ham have scored 1 and conceded 8 in 2 games, or 11 if you count the League Cup. Milenkovic and Wood should also do well from set pieces, with Hermansen looking very shaky versus Chelsea Gameweek 2. Burn and Harvey Burns. Well, Burns is one of the few defenders who have hit 10 defcons in both games. Barnes should play the full 90 minutes with Gordon suspended, and Leeds are missing their DM, Tanaka and Ampadu, which should impact on already poor defence. So Cucurella, assisting clean sheet potential, is a nice premium pick to have since most non-free hit teams will not be able to get him. And Bumo, Cunha and Bruno. Triple Man United attack might seem bold, but they're surely due a goal from open play soon. They've had chances and they just need a little luck, and Burnley conceded enough chances away against Spurs to give me the hope to attack this fixture. João Pedro, I expect Palmer does not start this week, no reason to rush him back. I'm more than happy to have João Pedro since he might be on penalties and he's effectively conducting their Chelsea attack with Palmer out. Haaland, Brighton defence has not improved from last season and Haaland's underlying numbers remain excellent. So captain Chris Wood against West Ham, who have completely fallen apart. Can't be scared of Potter. Best of luck with the chips guys, and thanks for sending the teams and thoughts in. Captaincy's a minefield this week. I mean, this might be the longest list we've ever had. There's 11 names this week, 11. Bruno is top, 45%, and then it's Salah 19%, Haaland 14%, Cunha 8%, and then we've got Wood, João Pedro, Palmer and Bumo, Watkins, Johnson and Reinders. It's looking very much like it's going to be one of those weeks where overall captaincy is going to be really spread, which means there's more potential rank gain if we get ours right. Who are you guys going with? FPL review projections favour Bruno on 6.9 points, and then it's Salah and Haaland both on 5.8, and then it's Cunha and Bumo, Porro, Watkins and Wood. Best of luck whoever you go with this weekend. Onto the experts team next, and The experts template for Gameweek 3 has got Sanchez in goal, Van de Ven, Porro and Murillo in defence, Palmer, Salah, Bruno and Reinders in midfield, and it's Watkins, João Pedro and Strand Larsen up front. How many players have you got from the team this week? So Dubravka is now the most owned player with 89% ownership. Palmer's dropped from most owned, he was 99%, and he's down to 62% now, but it's not enough to knock Palmer out the team with that ownership, and it's Bruno captain and Salah vice this week. Let's wrap up with some final thoughts from the experts ahead of the deadline. Here's what they wanted to say to you. All the talk about Palmer this week, we forgot to mention Saka. However, Roop says Saka's an easy sell because of the injury and upcoming fixtures. Downgrading him and upgrading Gu to Wood makes my team more flexible for upcoming game weeks after the international break. After this game week, I'm trying to save transfers to bring Saka and 2 other Arsenal players in for game week 7. Chris Davies says, I'm trying to roll again to give extra transfers for the international break, even though I have a few problems to fix with Palmer and Juve. FPL Magnum says, it feels like it's been a brutal start to the season for a lot of FPL managers, me included, so there's a real decision to make whether to stick with the original plans for your team or look to do something different. Personally, the injury doubt to Palmer allows me to make an unplanned transfer to Bruno with a view to giving him the armband as well. With the increased chips and additional transfers coming later down the line, I feel like there's value to be had in targeting the best captains in any given game week, and Bruno offers the balance of being someone who can haul, but also lots of routes to points in even more difficult games that United have got coming up. Palmer hasn't really hit the ground running, and injury aside, doesn't stand out as a captain option until game week 9, so I'm happy to move him on in the short term. FPL Obsessed Family said, this game week is a very tricky one to call, with captaincy particularly difficult. A very good bit of judgment or a large slice of luck will likely be required to get good points. And lastly, Vader, who's also going for the free hit, says, somewhat forced into using the free hit chip earlier than planned with the injuries to Saka and Palmer. Feels like a good week to use it too though, with Liverpool playing against Arsenal. It could work out really well or it could backfire after going all in with Man United and Forest players against what has looked like weak opposition so far. Thanks very much for watching. Do hit subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos on the channel. Next up, we're going to hear from the #1 all-time FPL manager, Tom Dollymore, his team and what he's doing with Palmer. See you soon for the next one.